My father's birthday party. Evelyn Shen, the adopted daughter of our family, dressed in an immaculate white dress like a pristine white lotus, suddenly burst in. In her hand was a stack of photos, which she threw straight onto the banquet table, making the red wine in the glasses ripple. Yana Shen, explain yourself. Her voice trembled with indignation, her large, round eyes brimming with tears as she looked towards Ethan Gu. My husband, Ethan, look, she's been seeing another man behind your back. The entire banquet hall in the Shen family villa fell into a sudden, hushed silence. All eyes turned towards me and the man sitting beside me, Ethan Gu, CEO of the Wang Corporation, who was my husband in name only. I slowly put down my silverware, delicately dabbed the corner of my mouth, not even sparing a glance at the pile of photos. My mother, the famous actress Susan Su, merely raised an eyebrow, not because her daughter was allegedly having an affair, but because the wine glass almost spilled onto her limited edition 2-meter tablecloth. Evelyn, you're being too loud. My father, Brian Shen, the old fox of the business world, lightly tapped his finger on the table. The steamed grouper with ginger is getting cold. My brother, Leo Shen, a genius IT specialist, didn't even lift his head from his laptop, merely mumbling, "The Wi-Fi signal in this corner is a bit weak. The photos are loading too slowly." Evelyn Shen froze, this reaction completely outside her expectations. There was no scene of my father getting angry, my mother fainting, my husband flying into a rage. My entire family, from top to bottom, looked as if they were watching a tedious family drama. Ethan Gu finally reacted. He didn't look at the pile of photos but turned to me, his large, warm hand gently caressing a strand of my hair. His deep voice carried a hint of indulgent laughter. "Yana, you're being naughty again." A light-hearted remark, yet it landed like a resounding slap across Evelyn Shen's face. She stammered, "Ethan, aren't you angry? She's cheating on you." It was only then that I lazily lifted my head to look at Evelyn Shen, who was clearly overacting, a slight curve forming on my lips. "Noisy. The person in the photos is my brother, Leo Shen. Are you nearsighted or just sleepy?" Of course, the person in the photos wasn't my brother, but since all the pictures were taken from behind, how could she possibly know who it was? It was a pawn I had deliberately played to lure Evelyn Shen. But seeing her face change from pale to flushed and then back to ashen, I knew this fish had taken the bait. The marriage between Ethan Gu and me was originally a contract. The Shen family needed a strong ally to deal with a hidden enemy. The Gu family needed the Shen family's prestige to solidify its status. We, the two main actors, were playing out a drama of an affectionate couple for the whole world to see. And Evelyn Shen, the adopted daughter who had always been envious of me, was our most enthusiastic audience. She couldn't believe I could marry a man as perfect as Ethan Gu. For the past year, she had relentlessly tried to expose my true colors, wanting to prove I was unworthy. Today, she thought she had finally caught me. Unfortunately, she was merely a puppet in my hands. "No way," Evelyn Shen shrieked, pointing at Leo Shen, who was still glued to his screen. "Leo is clearly sitting right there, the man in the photos. The man in the photos is taller than him." My mother elegantly sipped her wine, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "My dear, your sense of aesthetics truly has issues. Don't you know there are things called shoe lifts and camera angles these days?" My father nodded in agreement. "Indeed. Next time you want to take candid photos, remember to find a more professional photographer. These pictures have a messy composition, terrible lighting, absolutely no artistry whatsoever." "Everyone," Evelyn Shen trembled, tears streaming down her face. "Why are you all covering for her? I just want what's best for Ethan, what's best for our family." I chuckled aloud. "Evelyn, have you finished your act?" I rose, slowly walking towards her. Each step I took made her instinctively recoil. "Who do you want what's best for? Yourself, perhaps. You're resentful, aren't you? Resentful that I have everything good, while you're just an adopted daughter." "I'm not." Evelyn Shen vehemently denied it, but her evasive gaze betrayed her. "Oh, yes you are." I leaned close to her ear, whispering in a voice just loud enough for the two of us to hear. "You want Ethan Gu, you want the position of the young madam of the Gu family, you want everything that belongs to me. Am I right, my dear sister?" Evelyn Shen's body stiffened. I stepped back, smiling as I looked at Ethan Gu, who remained seated. His profound gaze was fixed on me like a leopard enjoying its prey. He knew everything. He was my accomplice in this play. He suddenly stood up, taking long strides to stand beside me. He said nothing, simply reached out and pulled me into his arms, one hand tightly clasping my waist, the other lifting my chin. This possessive action made everyone hold their breath. He bent his head, his alluring thin lips brushing against my ear, his hot breath fanning my sensitive skin, making me shiver slightly. "My dear wife, you've been naughty again." His hoarse voice carried a hint of danger. "To dare to flirt with another man behind my back, even if he is your brother, I will still be jealous." I looked up at him. In the depths of his eyes, my reflection and a burning flame flickered. Damn it, this guy is overacting like crazy. My face flushed, and I could feel his arms tighten around me. His strong physique was almost pressed against mine. His clean, masculine scent enveloped me, making my head spin slightly. This was part of the plan, but my heart was racing uncontrollably. I was about to say something to break this ambiguous atmosphere, but he was one step faster. He turned to look at Evelyn Shen, who was frozen on the spot with an incredulous expression. His gaze was icy, completely different from the tenderness he showed me. "Miss Evelyn, my wife is a little mischievous, but I like it." He smirked, a derisive half-smile playing on his lips. "As for you, an adopted daughter of the Shen family, causing trouble at your foster father's birthday party. Have you forgotten everything the Shen family taught you, or are you deliberately choosing to ignore it?" This remark was both venomous and profound, making Evelyn Shen stagger and almost fall. She wailed in despair, "Ethan Gu, she's bewitched you. You'll regret this." With that, she turned and fled the villa like a madwoman. As soon as the curtain fell on the drama, I let out a small sigh of relief, intending to push Ethan Gu away, but he only held me tighter. He leaned down and whispered into my ear again, his voice carrying a profound implication. "Not bad acting. My dear wife, how do you want me to reward you for this opening act?" Ethan Gu's hot breath fanned my ear. His question was like a soft feather, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 pounds. It grated on my already taut nerves. "Reward? What kind of reward do you want?" I tried to keep my voice calm, but the strand of hair clinging to my temple with sweat betrayed me. His arms tightened further, pressing me against his solid chest, making me feel each steady yet powerful heartbeat thumping rapidly. Damn it, his heart is beating fast too. "My dear wife's reward," he chuckled softly. His smile made my throat dry. "Of course, I'll have to take it myself." With that, he suddenly swept me into his arms, to my astonishment and the meaningful glances of my entire family. "Ah," I instinctively clutched his neck, my legs unconsciously wrapping around his waist. This pose was excessively intimate, excessively ambiguous. My face turned beet red, like a boiled shrimp. I could only bury my face in the crook of his shoulder, feigning death. "Ethan, Yana, where are you two going? The party isn't over yet." My mother, Susan Sue's, voice echoed from behind, with undisguised teasing. Ethan Gu didn't even bother to turn his head, his deep, husky voice resonating in my ear. "We're just going upstairs for a little reward for each other. Please, parents, feel free to enjoy the party." Good heavens, is this man possessed? What the hell kind of reward? This is my parents' house. He carried me straight to my bedroom on the second floor, the room I had lived in since childhood. As soon as the door closed, he wasn't gentle at all, pressing me directly against the cold rosewood door. With a thump, my back hit the door, but the pain was quickly replaced by his hot lips. He gave me no second to react, fiercely claiming my lips. This kiss was nothing like the gentle, superficial kisses we exchanged for show in front of others. It carried possessiveness, punishment, and a long-suppressed fire of desire. I tried to push him away, but my body went limp in his arms. His large hand held my waist tightly, the heat from his palm piercing through my thin dress as if to incinerate me. Every inch of my skin screamed at this sudden contact. My mind went blank. Our contract didn't have this clause. His kiss left my lips trailing down to my collarbone. I tilted my head back slightly, my breath coming in gasps, feeling a burning sensation where he moved, a numbing thrill spreading throughout my body. "Yana, you smell so good." A simple remark shattered my already fragile reason. I gasped for breath, my hands, initially resisting, now clutched his suit jacket tightly. "Ethan Gu, stop. This is just part of the plan." He lifted his head, his deep, dark eyes piercing into mine, revealing undisguised desire. A wicked smile curved on his lips. Plan? He chuckled softly. Do you think I'm cooperating with you just for that boring contract? He leaned down and whispered into my ear, his voice husky and captivating. I'm a businessman. Yana Shen, I never make a losing deal. You're using me for this play, so you'll have to pay the price. Price? Exactly, he said, his gaze darkened, sweeping from my lips downwards. The price is you. Just as the atmosphere in the room was about to explode, a knock 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 echoed from the door, followed by my brother's lazy voice. Liu Shen, are you two done with your reward yet? Dad's calling you down to cut the birthday cake. P.S. This room isn't very soundproof. My face was so hot it felt like it could fry an egg. I hastily pushed Ethan Gu away, adjusting my disheveled dress. Ethan Gu seemed displeased by the interruption, but he quickly straightened his clothes, resuming his usual cold CEO demeanor. He shot me a glance, his eyes full of profound meaning. I'll put this debt on account for now. When we returned to the banquet table, Evelyn Shen had disappeared, and the atmosphere had returned to its usual cheerfulness. My father was happily receiving gifts, while my mother was taking selfies with her close friends. After the party ended, as Ethan Gu was driving me back to my private villa, my brother, Liu Shen, suddenly sent me a message. I just hacked the traffic cameras near home. After leaving, Evelyn Shen got into a strange car. The license plate belongs to a subsidiary of the Wang Corporation. The Wang Corporation. The smile on my lips vanished. The Wang Corporation was the hidden enemy the Shen family had always guarded against, and the underlying reason why Ethan Gu and I had to marry. Ethan Gu was driving. Noticing my changed expression, he glanced at my phone screen. So, the Wang Corporation has made its move. His voice deepened, devoid of its earlier teasing. It seems Evelyn Shen isn't just a simply jealous adopted daughter. I turned off my phone and looked out the window. She's the knife the Wang Corporation planted in our family. Ethan Gu lightly tapped his fingers on the steering wheel. This knife has now revealed its own blade. So, what's our next move, CEO Gu? I turned to look at him. Under the passing streetlights, his angular face was alternately lit and shadowed, full of mystery. He didn't answer immediately but suddenly swerved. The car turned onto a deserted road and stopped by the riverbank. He turned and unbuckled my seatbelt, his tall body leaning over me, pinning me against the seat. Plan, he gave a faint smile, his long, slender finger gently lifting my chin. Before we discuss plans, shouldn't you settle the payment you still owe from earlier, my dear wife? In the cramped space of the car, I could clearly hear my heart pounding erratically. This man truly never forgets to take advantage of me. The space in the Bentley was stiflingly cramped. Ethan Gu's breath on my face carried a refreshing minty scent and the dangerous aroma of a predator. Payment? I raised an eyebrow, deliberately ignoring his scorching gaze, placing one hand on his chest, maintaining a fragile distance. CEO Gu, you helped me with my act, and I helped you secure your position. We're even, so what debt is there? He chuckled softly, a dimple appearing faintly on his left cheek, a fatally charming smile. But his actions were the opposite. He leaned in closer, the tip of his nose almost touching mine. Even, he repeated, his voice hoarse. Yana Shen, do you truly think that kiss just now was an act? Didn't you notice how fast your own heart was beating? Damn it, this sly fox. My reason screamed at me to push him away, but my body responded honestly. My face burned, my heart pounded like a war drum. Seeing me speechless, he pressed his advantage. His thin lips gently brushed against mine, a malicious tease. If you don't want to pay the price in kind, he whispered, then let's exchange it for something else of equal value. For a moment, I thought he would demand a deeper kiss. But no, I had underestimated Ethan Gu. He was a wolf. What he wanted was never just a tasty morsel. He wanted the entire forest. I suddenly laughed, my laughter making him pause slightly. All right, I said, looking straight into his eyes, the earlier confusion gone. In its place was the sharp look of someone negotiating. I'll use our upcoming plan to repay you. A plan that will help your Gu Corporation devour the Wang Corporation in one swift move. Is that bargain big enough? A flicker of interest sparked in Ethan Gu's eyes. You know I'm not kidding. He slowly sat up straight, loosening his tie, but the dangerous aura around him didn't diminish in the slightest. Tell me. Evelyn Shen is now like a dog without a master, only knowing how to blindly follow the Wang Corporation's orders, I analyzed. They want to use her to disrupt the Shen family and drive a wedge between you and me, so why don't we use their own scheme against them? You mean we'll give them what they want to see? A corner of my lips curved upwards. Evelyn Shen wants to see a rift between you and me. Fine, we'll put on an even bigger show. A show where I, Yana Shen, neglected by my husband, start looking for new pleasures outside. Ethan Gu frowned, clearly not liking this idea. New pleasures? Yes, my new pleasure is none other than Henry Wang, the young master of the Wang family. The moment that name left my lips, the temperature in the car seemed to drop several degrees, and Ethan Gu's face darkened. Henry Wang, the only son of Chairman Wang of the Wang Corporation, was infamous as a debauched playboy, especially interested in women who were already taken. He was arrogant, conceited, and the biggest weakness of the Wang family. No, Ethan Gu immediately rejected the idea. Too dangerous. Precisely because it's dangerous, it'll be believable enough, I countered. Evelyn Shen won't suspect a thing. She'll be overjoyed to see me fall and will immediately report her success to her masters. The Wang Corporation will think they've got a handle on the weaknesses of both the Shen and Gu families. Only then will they lower their guard. I looked at him, my gaze resolute. Do you think there's a better way for a fish to willingly jump into the net? We'll let Henry Wang taste the sweet nectar, to make him sink deep into the trap we've set. Ethan Gu remained silent, his fingers still lightly tapping on the steering wheel. He was weighing the pros and cons. I knew what he was worried about, but in this chess game, how can you catch tiger cubs without entering the tiger's den? Don't worry, I continued. My voice softened a little. I know my limits. I won't let him touch a single strand of my hair. I just need you to play the role of a jealous, helpless husband convincingly to make the drama more believable. He suddenly turned, his large hand seizing mine. What's your guarantee? His voice was thick with unspoken emotion. Henry Wang isn't a fool. He's not stupid, but he's overly confident in his charm. I tried to pull my hand back, but couldn't, and I, Ethan Gu, have my own trump card. He stared at me intently, trying to find a flaw in my words. Finally, he let out a breath. All right, I agree to your plan. I was about to sigh in relief, but he continued with the next sentence. But I have one condition. What condition? He pulled my hand closer, leaning down, his lips almost touching mine once more. His gaze was both profound and undeniably possessive. From now until the plan is over, you have to move into my villa. What? I stiffened. Our contract clearly states we have separate living spaces. To convincingly play the role of a fracturing couple, he smirked, his reason perfectly plausible. We first need to show the world how intimate we once were, don't you agree, my dear wife? He emphasized the words intimate, the underlying meaning clear without needing to be said. This bastard beat around the bush for a while, but in the end, he still wanted his payment. I looked into his dark eyes, knowing I had no way out. Fine, I gritted my teeth. But if you dare to pull any stunts, Ethan Gu, I'll make you regret it. He burst out laughing, a smile as radiant as the sun after rain. Don't worry, I'll be very well behaved. I didn't believe a word of it. A wolf never eats vegetarian. The car began to move again, but this time it wasn't heading towards my apartment. The sleek black Bentley glided past the automatic iron gate, entering a private tree-lined driveway. At the end of the road stood a modern villa perched precariously on a mountainside. Giant glass panels reflected the faint neon lights of the city in the distance. This wasn't a house, it was a fortress. Or rather, it was a wolf's den. Ethan Gu stopped the car and personally opened the door for me, a courtesy so refined it felt fake. Welcome home, my dear wife. I stepped out of the car, not bothering to reply to him. The mountain air was chilly, and I unconsciously folded my arms. He took off his suit jacket and draped it over my shoulders. His warmth and familiar scent enveloped me. Inside, the villa was even more stunning, with a minimalist style featuring dominant black and white tones and expensive yet understated furnishings. The luxury emanated from the space itself and every minute detail. I thought he would lead me to a guest room, but no. He pulled my suitcase straight up to the second floor, stopping in front of the largest door at the end of the hallway. the door to the master bedroom. "Where's the guest room?" I stopped, not entering. Ethan Gu turned to look at me, his hand still on the doorknob, a perfect curve forming on his lips. "You're the lady of this house, why would you sleep in a guest room?" He opened the door. A vast space met my eyes, an entire wall was tempered glass, offering a $1,000,000 view of the city at night. In the center of the room was a king-sized bed, large enough for 4 people. Everything was perfect, except for the fact that I had to share a room with this wolf. "Ethan Gu, there's no such clause in the contract." I stood rooted to the spot, trying to find a way out. He didn't argue, simply walked over and opened a hidden door behind the wall. A massive walk-in closet appeared. Half of it was his clothes, watches, and shoes, meticulously arranged down to the millimeter. The other half was a woman's world. Dresses, handbags, high heels from top brands, sparkling jewelry displayed in glass cabinets. All were custom-made, limited edition items, and most importantly, all were exactly my size. My throat felt dry. "When did you prepare all this?" He walked to the closet, casual as if it were nothing. "Since the day we signed the contract." He turned back, his profound gaze fixed on me. "I'm a businessman. Yana, I always prepare for every possible scenario." He didn't just prepare for the possibility of me moving in, he had arranged for me to move in from the very beginning. This sly fox calculated every single step. He took out a wine-red silk slip dress, the soft fabric flowing in his hands like water. "Go take a bath." He handed it to me, "then we'll discuss the plan." I took the dress, feeling as if I was holding a hot potato. The bathroom was even larger than my old bedroom. I soaked in the hot tub, trying to clear my head. In this chess game, Ethan Gu was clearly gaining the upper hand. He was systematically breaking the rules of the contract, cornering me into his territory. When I emerged, my hair was still slightly damp. Ethan Gu had changed into a gray silk pajama set, lazily half-reclining on the bed, an iPad in hand, reviewing financial reports. This scene was deadly ambiguous. I stood at the edge of the bed, maintaining a safe distance. "I'll sleep on the sofa." He looked up from the screen, glancing towards the Italian leather sofa in the corner of the room. It was beautiful, but clearly not meant for sleeping. "Are you sure?" He asked me back. I was speechless. He let out a dramatic sigh, setting the iPad aside. "All right, fine, I won't tease you anymore. Come here." I eyed him warily. He patted the empty half of the bed beside him. "I won't eat you." He paused for a moment, his smile turning sly. "At least not yet." With that, he used his slender finger to draw an invisible line right down the middle of the bed. "This is my territory, and this is yours." He looked straight into my eyes, his voice deepening, carrying a warning. "Cross the line, and you bear the consequences." After an internal struggle, I finally climbed onto the bed, lying down on the very edge, my back to him, my entire body stiff as a plank of wood. The silence in the room was so profound that I could hear his steady breathing behind me. His masculine scent lingered around my nostrils, making it impossible for me to sleep. I felt the mattress dip. He had put his iPad down. The room was plunged into darkness. "Yana," his deep, husky voice suddenly echoed in the dark, right beside the nape of my neck. I flinched, goosebumps rising all over my body. "What's your trump card?" So he was also having trouble sleeping, just like me. I smiled faintly in the darkness. The earlier tensions suddenly dissipated. This wolf, though dangerous, was at least smart enough to be the best ally. "A secret," I replied, "but I guarantee Henry Wang will willingly take the bait himself." His low chuckle resonated from behind me. "All right, I trust you," he said. "Tomorrow there's a charity auction at the Grand Gate. It's a den of vipers, the perfect stage for your debut. Henry Wang is sure to be there." Grand Gate, I repeated the name to myself. It was an extremely exclusive private club, reserved only for the ultra-rich. "Exactly," he continued, his breath fanning the back of my neck, strangely warm. "Get ready, my dear wife." I didn't reply. The entire room fell silent again, but I knew neither of us was sleeping. The invisible line on the bed seemed to be burning away. I woke up not to the alarm clock, but to a heavy weight on my waist. Opening my eyes, the first thing I saw was Ethan Gu's solid chest, only a few centimeters from my face. His arm was assertively draped across my waist. I was almost completely enveloped in his embrace. The line? That thing must have been kicked into some corner by him while I was asleep. I cautiously lifted my head. He was still asleep, his long, curved eyelashes casting shadows on his cheekbones, his usual cold, sharp demeanor replaced by a rare peacefulness. My heart skipped a beat. Damn it, this guy even looks stunning when he's sleeping. I gently stirred, intending to remove his arm before he woke up, but the moment I moved, his arm tightened further. His husky, sleep-roughened voice rumbled above my head. "Good morning, my dear wife. Did you sleep well last night?" My body stiffened. He's been awake for how long? "You crossed the line." I gritted my teeth, trying to stay calm. "Oh," he opened his eyes, his dark, clear eyes looking at me without a hint of remorse. "Did I? Perhaps the bed is too wide, I just rolled over in my sleep." A flimsy excuse that was utterly unacceptable. He propped himself up, the silk blanket sliding down to reveal his perfect six-pack abs. He looked down at me, a corner of his lips curving upwards. "Or perhaps you secretly crossed the line first." I was so angry I burst out laughing. "Ethan Gu, your shamelessness is thicker than a city wall," he shrugged, nonchalantly stepping out of bed. "Thanks for the compliment." After our morning combat, we prepared for the auction tonight. Standing before the enormous walk-in closet, I felt a little overwhelmed. Ethan Gu had prepared everything from evening gowns to matching jewelry. "What do you think I should wear for the hunt?" I asked, folding my arms. He stepped behind me, his warm breath fanning my nape. He swept past a row of dazzling dresses, finally stopping before a fiery red silk slip dress, its back daringly scooped low. "This one," he said, taking the dress down. "Red suits you. Does red suit me, or is red provocative enough to attract the prey?" I said nothing, taking the dress and stepping into the changing room. When I emerged, even Ethan Gu paused for a second. The dress hugged every curve of my body, my fair skin stark against the red fabric, both alluring and dangerous. He approached, a teardrop diamond necklace in his hand. "Let me help you." He stood behind me, fastening the necklace around my neck. His cool fingers inadvertently brushed my skin, making me shiver. In the large mirror, I could see his eyes darken, unfathomably deep. "Yana," he suddenly called my name, his voice low and husky. "Remember this, you are mine." This was both a reminder and a warning. The Grand Gate, true to its name, was the entrance to the true elite circle. This place wasn't simply accessible with money. Every guest here was a powerful figure, holding the power of life and death in the business world. As soon as the car stopped, Ethan Gu stepped out first, opening the car door for me. He offered me his arm, and we walked the red carpet together. Camera flashes flared ceaselessly. On the outside, we were still the most powerful and perfect couple in the city. As soon as we entered the main hall, my eyes caught sight of my target. Evelyn Shen, wearing a pale pink dress, looking pitifully fragile, was standing beside a portly middle-aged man, Chairman Wang. And not far from them, his son, Henry Wang, was holding a glass of wine, his lustful eyes scanning the girls at the party. The play began. Ethan Gu was talking to a business partner. I subtly squeezed his arm, giving him a signal. He instantly understood. He frowned, his voice a little impatient, loud enough for a few people nearby to hear. "Where are you going? Stay right here." I sharply pulled my hand from his, my face filled with indignation and stubbornness. "If you're busy, then take care of your business. I know what I'm doing." With that, I turned and walked away, not even glancing back. The drama of the fracturing couple officially premiered. I could feel Evelyn Shen's triumphant gaze fixed on my back. I walked straight to the bar and ordered a strong cocktail. I didn't drink it, just held the glass, subtly swirling the liquid, my gaze idly sweeping across the dance floor. My appearance at that moment was that of a beautiful wife, neglected by her husband, lonely and discontent. The scent of cheap men's cologne suddenly wafted over. "Madam Gu, why are you drinking alone here? Is CEO Gu not with you?" I turned around. Henry Wang was standing beside me, his eyes openly appraising me from head to toe, his lust thinly veiled. I smirked, offering a smile that was both distant and inviting. "Young Master Wang, are you interested in buying me a drink?" Henry Wang's eyes lit up, his smile growing more complacent. He signaled the bartender, and immediately a vibrant tequila sunrise was slid across to me. "To be invited by Madame Gu is my honor." He raised his glass, deliberately clinking it lightly against mine. "I just never expected a thorny rose like you to be so lonely." I gave a faint smile, not touching the drink. "Every rose needs someone to water it. Young Master Wang, if the soil is too dry, the flower will wither." A sentence full of hidden meaning. Henry Wang instantly understood, his smile becoming even more lecherous. If the Gu family's soil is dry, he leaned in, whispering, then the Wang family's garden is always open, waiting for you. I guarantee I'll water you every day. Disgusting, I nearly gagged, but on my face, I maintained an arrogant expression with a hint of feigned allure. Young Master Wang, you're quite the joker. I lightly pushed him away, standing up. The auction is about to begin. I don't want to miss it. I turned to leave, and he immediately followed like a shadow. The eyes of the entire room, including Ethan Gu and Evelyn Shen, were all fixed on us. I chose a seat in the third row. Henry Wang unceremoniously sat right beside me. From this angle, I could clearly see Evelyn Shen's livid face and Ethan Gu's icy gaze fixed intensely in our direction. That sly fox is really overacting. That look in his eyes is as if he wants to devour me whole. The auction began. The first item was a jade necklace with a starting price of 5 million yuan. I wasn't interested, but Evelyn Shen was. She turned to Chairman Wang, pouting. Chairman Wang, this necklace is so beautiful. Chairman Wang immediately raised his paddle. 6 million. A few others joined in, and the price quickly climbed to 10 million. Just then, Henry Wang, sitting beside me, suddenly raised his paddle. 15 million? The entire room gasped. Evelyn Shen and Chairman Wang both turned, stunned, to look at Henry Wang. He didn't look at them but turned to me, smiling meaningfully. Madam Gu, what do you think of this necklace? Does it suit your complexion? He was using money to provoke Ethan Gu and to curry favor with me. I smiled, my tone languid. Jadeite is a bit common. It doesn't suit me. I prefer diamonds dazzling and strong. Henry Wang immediately lowered his paddle, no longer bothering to compete. The necklace ultimately went to another lady, and Evelyn Shen's face was as black as thunder. This play was more effective than I imagined. The next item was brought up. A limited edition Phoenix hairpin made of pink diamonds by French designer JL. This was it, my trump card. Starting price, 20 million. I immediately raised my paddle. 30 million? The entire room was once again shaken. Everyone knew Madame Gu spent money lavishly, but bidding 1.5 times the starting price right off the bat was truly unprecedented. Ethan Gu's eyes, from afar, narrowed slightly. He knew the true history of this hairpin. A few others also started bidding, but no one dared to be too aggressive. Suddenly, a clear yet furious voice rang out. 50 million? It was Evelyn Shen. She sprang to her feet, her eyes glaring at me with hatred. Everyone knew she was deliberately confronting me. I subtly smirked. Everything was going exactly according to the script. I calmly raised my paddle. 60 million, 70 million, 100 million. I bid without blinking. The entire hall fell silent. This figure far exceeded the hairpin's actual value. This was no longer an auction. This was war. Evelyn Shen was speechless, her face ashen. She turned to Chairman Wang for help, but he merely frowned and shook his head. Henry Wang, beside me, chuckled. Madame Gu truly has spirit. He clapped and told the presenter, the Wang Corporation will present this item to Madame Gu as a gift. 2 birds with 1 stone, he'd both curry favor with me and embarrass the Gu family. But I wasn't about to let him have his way so easily. I turned to him, my eyes conveying feigned gratitude. Oh, I couldn't possibly. How could I accept such a generous gift from young Master Wang? I paused for a moment, my gaze sweeping towards Ethan Gu, who sat as still as a statue. If my husband finds out, he won't be happy. He gets very jealous. I deliberately said the last sentence very softly, but loud enough for Henry Wang to hear. Sure enough, his eyes grew even more excited. What could be more thrilling than snatching an opponent's woman right in front of him? What's there to be afraid of? Henry Wang leaned close to my ear. With me here, he wouldn't dare do anything to you, he said, then turned towards Ethan Gu, raising his wine glass in a blatant act of provocation. At that very moment, Ethan Gu abruptly stood up, an icy chill emanating from his entire being. He didn't say a word, simply strode towards us. Each of his steps felt like it was trampling on the nerves of everyone present. The air in the hall seemed to solidify. All eyes were fixed intently on Ethan Gu. He didn't walk fast, but each step was as heavy as 1,000 pounds, his intimidating aura making Henry Wang, who was always arrogant, involuntarily take half a step back. Ethan Gu stopped in front of me. He didn't look at Henry Wang, but merely lowered his head to look at me, his profound gaze piercing deep into my soul. Having fun? His voice was low and hoarse, betraying no emotion. I looked up at him, perfectly playing the role of a stubborn wife caught red-handed. Henry Wang, feeling ignored and humiliated, spoke up. CEO Gu, you're scaring her. Women are meant to be cherished and loved, not glared at and threatened. Only then did Ethan Gu glance at him, a fleeting look that was as cold as a knife. My wife, I know how to pamper her myself, he said, then suddenly reached out, not to take my hand, but to take the tequila sunrise that Henry Wang had offered me. He lightly swirled the glass, the orange-red liquid shimmered within. Young Master Wang is truly thoughtful, he smirked. Knowing my wife has a sensitive stomach and can't drink strong liquor, did you deliberately order such a sugary cocktail to harm her? A remark that was both concern and accusation. Henry Wang's expression immediately changed. CEO Gu, you've misunderstood. Ethan Gu cut him off. He tilted his head back and drained the glass in one gulp. Crash! He slammed the empty glass down on the nearby glass table, the jarring sound making everyone jump. The drink young Master Wang offered, I have drunk on behalf of my wife. His eyes were as sharp as knives, each word bitten out. From now on, I'd appreciate it if young Master Wang would maintain some distance from my wife. Otherwise, he didn't finish the sentence, but the threat was abundantly clear. Henry Wang's face flushed crimson with anger, but before Ethan Gu's formidable presence, he dared not utter another word. Ethan Gu no longer paid him any attention. He turned to me, his large hand taking mine, pulling me up. Let's go home. 2 simple words, full of power, allowing no defiance. But the hairpin? I feigned hesitation, my eyes regretfully looking towards the stage. Ethan Gu didn't even bother to look. He pulled a black card from his suit jacket pocket and tossed it to his assistant standing nearby. Whatever the price, buy it. With that, he pulled me straight out of the hall, leaving behind a petrified crowd and Henry Wang, rooted to the spot, his face alternating between green and pale. This jealous husband act was perhaps even more successful than expected. Once outside, the chilly night wind blew, clearing my head. As soon as we were out of sight, Ethan Gu immediately released my hand. Excellent acting, he said coolly, but a flicker of satisfaction shone in his eyes. You weren't bad either, I replied, rubbing my wrist, which was red from his grip. For a moment, I almost thought you were genuinely jealous. He let out a cold snort, not replying. We got into the car. The space once again returned to its stifling quietness. Is there something special about that hairpin? He suddenly asked. I smiled. This fox was indeed astute. Nothing special, I said. It's just a very beautiful hairpin, and coincidentally, it was the favorite piece of Henry Wang's mother during her lifetime. Ethan Gu immediately understood. You want to use it to approach her? No, I shook my head. Henry Wang's mother passed away long ago, but this hairpin was a memento she left for her biological daughter, the daughter who went missing many years ago. Silence suddenly filled the car. This information, even the Wang family doesn't know, I continued, my voice full of confidence. Only one person knows, the designer JL, and I am his sole apprentice. This is my real trump card. Ethan Gu looked at me, his eyes complex. What do you intend to do? Henry Wang is extremely competitive and suspicious. He lost to you, Ethan Gu, and he lost to me. He definitely won't be content, I analyzed. He'll send people to investigate the hairpin's origins. And when he discovers this secret, what do you think he'll do? A son who always wants to prove himself to his strict father. When he learns about the long-lost sister his father always loved most, what will he do? He'll come to you, Ethan Gu stated the answer. Exactly. A corner of my lips curved upwards. He won't believe it's a simple coincidence. He'll think I have some connection to his missing sister. At that moment, I looked at Ethan Gu, the fish will willingly jump onto the chopping block. The next morning, news of the previous night's auction exploded like a bomb. Financial and entertainment newspapers simultaneously splashed headlines. CEO Gu's jealous rage disrupts grand gate for a beauty, the Ethan Henry Yana love triangle, and Clash of Titans. Madame Gu, the thorny rose, pits 2 young masters against each other. I sat at the dining table in Ethan Gu's villa, lazily scrolling through the iPad he had just tossed to me. The news was accompanied by stunning candid photos of Ethan Gu and me, along with Henry Wang's furious expression. The media effect isn't bad, I said, taking a sip of coffee. Our drama perhaps deserves an Oscar. Ethan Gu was tying his tie, glancing at me through the large mirror. The Oscar for Best Actress certainly belongs to you. You played the role of a bad wife perfectly. Thanks for the compliment, I smiled. Your role as the wildly jealous husband wasn't bad either. He turned and walked closer to me, leaning down, his hands propped on the back of my chair, effectively caging me between his arms and the chair. His familiar minty scent enveloped me once again. Oh, really? He asked, his voice low and husky. So, do you know what I'm like when I'm truly jealous? My heart skipped a beat again. This man always knew how to make others flustered. I looked straight into his eyes. I don't intend to find out. He burst out laughing, a smile that could melt ice. He reached out and gently wiped away a speck of milk from the corner of my lips. Good girl. Just then, his assistant walked in, respectfully placing a wine-red velvet box on the table. CEO Gu, this is the Phoenix hairpin from yesterday's auction. Ethan Gu opened the box. The pink diamond hairpin lay still on the velvet, emitting a dazzling and enchanting light. He picked it up but didn't hand it to me immediately. He just looked at me, his eyes profound. Did your fish take the bait? It will, I replied confidently. Not just take the bait but swallow the entire hook. My phone vibrated. It was my brother, Leo Shen, calling. Little sister, my brother's voice rang out, a hint of smugness in it. You're really overacting. Dad said if Ethan Gu actually dares to bully you, he'll buy back the Wang Corporation for you to play with. I chuckled. You just focus on hacking the Wang Corporation's security systems, all right. Already done? My brother's voice was triumphant. Just got word that Henry Wang is sending people to investigate designer JL and all his works. He already called the studio in Paris, but was flatly rejected. Everything is precisely as I planned. Excellent, I said. Now I need to give the fish a pond to swim into. I hung up. I stood up. Today I had an appointment at the private gallery of L Gallery. It was exhibiting some of my teacher JL's early sketches. Ethan Gu also stood up, adjusting his shirt collar. Do you need me to come with you? No need, I shook my head. If you show up, he'll get scared and run. You just need to play your role well. What role? A husband who's sulking with his wife, not caring where she goes or what she does. I winked at him. But remember to send someone to follow me. I don't want to deal with those pesky flies myself. He looked at me for a long moment, his eyes a little complex. Don't let yourself get wet. A strange, abrupt remark, but I understood. He was worried about me. Don't worry, I smiled. I'm a good swimmer. The L Gallery was located down a quiet alley. This place wasn't open to the public, only admitting guests with invitations. I wore a simple white shift dress and light makeup, looking like a true art-loving lady, completely different from the image of the glamorous and arrogant Madame Gu. Quietly, I went to look at each sketch. Even my teacher's brilliant sketches, though mere drafts, held a soul. I stopped before the sketch of the Phoenix hairpin. A masculine voice sounded from behind. Madame Gu, what a coincidence. I slowly turned around. Henry Wang was standing there. I didn't know when he had arrived. Today, he wasn't wearing a suit, just a simple shirt which made him look less like a playboy, but his eyes were still full of calculation. I feigned surprise. Young Master Wang, you're also interested in art? He didn't answer my question, his gaze fixed on the sketch in front of him. This hairpin, he said, his voice a little rushed. Why did you want to buy it at all costs? I smiled lightly, taking a step back, maintaining my distance. Because it's beautiful, I replied. It's normal for women to want beautiful things, isn't it? Is that all? His eyes were full of suspicion. Well, what other reason do you think there is, young Master Wang? I asked back, my face innocent and naive. He fell silent, seemingly assessing my words. He took another step closer, lowering his voice. I've investigated. JL only ever accepted one apprentice, an Asian. He looked straight into my eyes. Was that person you? Faced with Henry Wang's direct question, I didn't falter. A corner of my lips slowly curved into a smile that was both mysterious and mocking. Young Master Wang, you've investigated me quite thoroughly, haven't you? I idly ran my fingers through a strand of hair. If Ethan Gu found out about this, I wonder what he'd think. My husband, he doesn't like others being too interested in his wife. I deliberately brought Ethan Gu into the conversation, partly to probe, and partly to remind Henry Wang of my taken status. The harder to get, the more men desire. Henry Wang's expression stiffened slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. I have no other intentions, purely admiration for talent. Miss Shen, you just need to answer, yes or no. Yes or no, does it matter? I laughed, my clear laughter echoing in the quiet art gallery. I took a step closer to him, lowering my voice, my gaze as sharp as a blade. What matters is, young Master Wang, are you seeking me for the hairpin, for JL, or because you're looking for someone? A question that struck a nerve. Henry Wang's pupils contracted, the confident expression on his face cracked. He hadn't expected me to know his deepest hidden motive. You, he stammered, about to say something, but an icy voice cut him off. My wife has no obligation to answer questions from strangers. Ethan Gu had appeared silently behind me, I hadn't even noticed. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, his entire being exuding an overwhelming kingly aura, his gaze at Henry Wang no different from looking at a lowly ant. His large hand rested on my shoulder, a possessive gesture. Henry Wang flinched, but still tried to appear strong. CEO Gu, are you stalking your wife? That's really undignified. My dignity is not for young Master Wang to comment on. Ethan Gu smirked. I merely came to pick up my wife and take her home, he said, then leaned down to look at me, his voice carrying perfectly concealed anger. Yana Shen, how much longer do you intend to cause trouble here? Here it was, the jealous husband act was on air again. I fiercely shrugged his hand off my shoulder, playing the stubborn wife to perfection. Ethan Gu, you're humiliating me. This is an art space, not a place for you to throw a tantrum. I turned to Henry Wang, offering an apologetic smile. My apologies, young Master Wang. My husband is a bit boorish. Our conversation will have to wait for another time. With that, I turned and walked away. Ethan Gu said nothing more, simply followed quietly behind me. The act was temporarily deemed satisfactory. But just as I walked past Henry Wang, I subtly tilted my head and mouthed two silent words to him. Help me. A spark immediately flickered in his eyes. Leaving the art gallery, Ethan Gu and I didn't exchange a single word until we got into the car. As soon as the car door closed, the confined space immediately became charged. He suddenly pulled me over, forcing me to sit on his lap, his hands tightly gripping my waist. What did you just say to him? His voice was thick with danger. Didn't you see? I wrapped my arms around his neck, my breath fanning his face. If we're acting, we might as well go all the way, right? You're playing with fire, Yana Shen. He gritted his teeth, his eyes darkening. Henry Wang isn't an idiot. I know, I smiled, my finger gently tracing his Adam's apple. But I'm no white rabbit either. I've definitely caught this fish. He stared at me intently, his eyes reflecting a struggle between reason and desire. Finally, he lowered his head and pressed a punishing kiss onto my lips, both forceful and profound. Don't ever do that again, he said after the long kiss, his forehead resting against mine. Just then, my phone received a message from an unfamiliar number. The message contained only one line. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m., Grand Lion Bar. I have what you want to know about JL in return. You must tell me what you know about my sister. A corner of my lips curved upwards. I showed the phone to Ethan Gu. See, I said, the fish has willingly jumped into the net. He looked at the message, then back at me. His eyes were profound. This time, I'm coming with you, he said, his voice brooking no refusal, as your bodyguard. I chuckled. Bodyguard, I only fear. By then, the one needing a bodyguard won't be me, but the prey, Henry Wang. The Grand Lion Bar was noisy and luxurious, the air thick with the scent of alcohol. I wore a modern black cheongsam, slit high up to my thigh, each step a provocative invitation. Ethan Gu walked half a step behind me, dressed in a simple black suit, but his cold aura kept the surrounding nuisances at bay. Bodyguard, you look more like the king of hell on patrol. Henry Wang was already waiting in a VIP room on the second floor. When he saw me arrive, his eyes clearly showed triumph. Madame Gu truly keeps her word, he said, pouring me a strong drink. Your husband isn't with you. He's not happy about me going out alone, I replied indifferently, settling onto the sofa opposite him, but I'm not his caged canary. This answer clearly pleased him greatly. Tell me, what do you know about my sister? He couldn't wait any longer. I didn't rush. I placed a small silver USB drive on the table. Everything you want to know is in here. But first, I want to know who is behind Evelyn Shen. Henry Wang chuckled. Madam Gu, you're smarter than I thought, but do you think I'd just tell you easily? You will tell me. I looked straight into his eyes. Because the clues about your sister, only I in this entire world know them, you have no choice. My confidence made him waver slightly. After a moment of consideration, he finally spoke. It's my father, he said. He wants to take advantage of the internal strife within the Shen and Gu families to take over the South Seaport project. So Evelyn Shen is his pawn, she's just a vain fool. Henry Wang sneered. We promised her the position of Madame Gu, and she immediately obeyed without question. All those photos, all those rumors, she orchestrated them herself. I nodded. Oh, really? Is that all? Henry Wang grew impatient, reaching out to take the USB. I pressed my finger down on it. Not enough. What do you mean? His expression changed. I also want to know. I smiled, a cold smile. Who was the one who leaked the Shen Corporation's confidential blueprints to the Wang Corporation half a year ago? This was my true objective, the hidden traitor within the Shen family. Henry Wang froze, his eyes wide with alarm. How do you know? Because this trap wasn't set for you from the very beginning. The VIP room door suddenly opened. Ethan Gu walked in, followed by my brother Liu Shen and my father Brian Shen. Henry Wang paled, springing to his feet. You people. My father smiled, the smile of an old fox. Young Master Wang, long time no see. Thank you for helping us find the rat in our house. Liu Shen opened his laptop. The large screen on the wall immediately lit up. It was the security camera footage from my father's study. A familiar figure was secretly copying documents from his computer, Evelyn Shen. But the person who handed her the USB was someone no one would have expected. My Uncle Robert, my father's younger brother. No way, Henry Wang mumbled, his entire body losing strength. All recordings, all money transactions between you and my Uncle Robert have already been sent to the investigation committee, I said coldly. Your Wang Corporation. It's over. Henry Wang collapsed onto the chair. Just then, his phone rang frantically. It was Evelyn Shen calling. She must have received the news. I signaled my brother. He typed a few commands on the keyboard. The call was immediately connected and put on speakerphone. Young Master Wang, save me? Evelyn Shen's voice shrieked hysterically through the phone. Uncle Robert's been arrested. The Shen family knows everything. You promised to marry me. Henry Wang coldly hung up. The game was over. The winner becomes king, the loser a bandit. Leaving the bar, the curtain fell on the play, but the atmosphere between Ethan Gu and me grew even more ambiguous. He drove, not to the mountain villa, nor to the Shen family home, but to a penthouse overlooking the entire Huangpu River. Where is this? I asked. Our home, he replied, his voice deep and husky. It's not the home in the contract, I stiffened. He pulled me into the apartment, pressing me against the wall, his profound gaze locking onto mine. Yana Shen, I'm tired. Tired of what? Tired of acting. He lowered his head, his forehead resting against mine, his breath hot. Tired of pretending not to care about you, tired of seeing you and another man together. My heart pounded wildly. That contract, he said, his voice almost pleading. Can we just tear it up? He didn't wait for my answer, replacing all words with a deep kiss. This time, it wasn't a punishing kiss, nor an act. It contained all the longing, jealousy, and love he had hidden for so long. I didn't push him away anymore, because I knew my own heart was now beating in sync with his. A few days later, the Wang Corporation declared bankruptcy. Uncle Robert and Evelyn Shen received prison sentences for commercial espionage and fraud. The life of that fake White Lotus finally withered completely behind bars. That evening, my entire family gathered for dinner. Daughter, my father solemnly announced, I've bought back 5% of the Gu Corporation's shares, consider it your dowry. My mother glared at him. What have asterisk you done? I've already signed a global advertising contract for the Gu Corporation. My brother slid his laptop over. Little sister, I'll be handling the Gu Corporation's cybersecurity from now on. I looked at Ethan Gu, who was sitting beside me peeling shrimp for me. He just smiled. They didn't give me a chance to show off. He leaned in and whispered into my ear. Well then, both the Gu Corporation and I are yours from now on. I laughed, the brightest smile I had ever worn. In this chess game, I not only dealt with the scheming mistresses, but also captured the heart of the most dangerous yet gentlest man in the world.